Now and then I walk in the company of dead people. It happens when I come to an old logging camp on the Conasauga River Trail in the Cohutta Wilderness and remember this photo taken in the 1920s. I know some of the people who worked and lived here, like Mose and Hattie Painter. They've been dead now for 40 years, but thoughts of them are with me when I come here. And I walk in the company of dead people when I come across ruins from the past, like this chimney pile at an old cabin site on Johns Mountain. Sometimes there isn't much to be learned about the people who once lived at a place like this. Other times quite a lot may come to light. On October 18th, Shepard Howell and I set out to search for the old Franklin home site near the Georgia-Tennessee line. We started at Shepard's place in the Alacolzy Valley, took a private trail up an unnamed ridge through Gizzard Gap and Gizzard Flats, and then walked part of the Iron Mountain Trail and a network of Forest Service roads to a dead end overlooking the Bogden Branch drainage. From there we bushwhacked down the mountainside to Bogden Branch. Though bushwhacking is much harder than trail walking, it compensates by leading to places few will ever see. Bushwhacking Bogden Branch's wild gorge was particularly difficult because recent windstorms created devilishly interlacing deadfalls. We scrambled through or around obstacles as challenging as the Cheval de Frise protecting Civil War fortifications. Dozens of times we took hold of saplings to pull ourselves up steep ridge sides to bypass impassable blowdowns. The descents were even more precarious. We placed every step just so, lest we suffer a bad fall. After a mile we reached a place that Shepard thought might be the old Franklin home site. It was just a slight widening between the ridges, big enough for a house and a garden and not much else. The first indication that somebody was here long ago was an old double-bladed axe head lying on the ground. Then Shepard found the ruins of a rock chimney a bit further on. It had fallen in such a way that it lay on the ground like a shadow of its original form. Shepard believes that those who once lived here had a small mill. He heard a tale from an old-timer about half a millstone in Bogden Branch, though we didn't find it. Shepard did find a piece of relic ironwork in the shallow stream. This was the Franklin home site perhaps 100 to 125 years ago. Mr. Franklin probably didn't farm this ground because the level area was too small. When word got out that he had died, a small group of neighbors came to retrieve his body for burial. They brought a mule, strapped his body to it, and carried it out of the gorge to one of the nearby mountain settlements. Having walked this ground, I realized just how difficult their journey was. Finding an axe head and looking at chimney ruins stirred thoughts of what might have been. Did Mr. Franklin set down his axe one evening, planning to return soon, only to never do so? Did he realize a moment would be the last time he'd warm his hands at the fireplace while a snowstorm howled outside? Relics from dreams fated not to endure remind me of a passage in the book of Ecclesiastes. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. Leaving the Franklin home site, we continued the long, tiring scramble downstream. After another half mile of strenuous walking, finally we saw a welcome brightness ahead, indicating our approach to the confluence of Bogden Branch and the Conasauga River. There we ate lunch beside the river, enjoying fine views, both upstream and down. Between 1910 and 1940, the Conasauga River Lumber Company built a network of tracks up the Conasauga and Jacks River gorges to harvest timber from the mountains for transport to the mill at Conasauga just across the state line in Tennessee. We walked a ways along the old railroad bed beside the river where it passes this vertical bluff. It's easy to think back a century to the days of the lumber company trains, workers, and camps when so many interesting photographs of that era survive. Shepard and I took the Iron Mountain Trail up and away from the river. This was a tough grade on a warm afternoon, but the leaves and views made it worthwhile. Finally, we intersected the route we had come in on and backtracked to the Alacolzy Valley. All told, we did 10 miles that felt more like 15. The Franklin home and the days of the Conasauga River Lumber Company are long gone, but there are still those of us who remember. When we walk these mountains, they're still with us, and that's enough. Thank you for watching this Georgia Backroads program.